Okay.
Look at me, King. You brought this up. Lucky Austin ain't here because I got some bars for him too.
All I'm gonna say, don't lose the Super Bowl.
That's right.
What's up, football fans, and welcome to another edition of Field Vision, brought to you by War Room Sports in conjunction with Sports Kings. I'm one of your hosts, Devin McMillan. I'm here at the round table this evening with the homie B. Austin of War Room Sports.
Look at me, King. You gonna get this work.
Frank Santos, Sports Kings.
Yo, something Richard Sherman and Jimmy Williams have in common is that they've been watching too many Tay-Rock battles.
We got the homie Fred Perdue of Heavy in the Games in the building.
I'm still a Patriots fan. Will Broncos fans really be Bronco fans when they lose the Super Bowl?
And we got Jimmy Williams, War Room Sports.
Yo, 26-16. That's all I got to say. I ain't talking about nothing from 10 years ago. I ain't talking about nothing. Yo, no bull.
Omaha.
26-16. Shout out to my man Pot Roast. Let's go.
Montana Fat Man.
All right, so look, since we got another week and a half to go before the Super Bowl even kicks off, what we're going to do during this episode is give out our postseason awards, to let you guys know who we thought had the best regular season. We did our midseason awards. I don't even remember who I picked back then, but I don't think it's any of these guys. So we're just going to start that off with the comeback player of the year. We're just going to go down the line. B. Austin, who you got for your comeback player of the year?
I have...
We've been in like 30 minutes.
You've had enough time.
Go ahead,
Come
Fred.
on, B.
Go ahead, Fred. I gotta get my notes, man. I gotta get my notes.
We pulling a loaded Lux first round choke right now. Yo, I got Phillip Rivers.
Frank,
Shout
who
out
you
to
got,
the
man?
Bolo.
Comeback
Shout out
player
to
of the
the
year.
Bolo tie. It's made a comeback along with Phillip Rivers. I think it's a pretty easy award. I don't know if anybody else you can give it to aside from Phillip Rivers. I mean, he went from top 10, not mentioning all back to the top 10, in no time. So I got Phillip Rivers.
All right, Fred, who you got?
Well, Frank, you kind of stole my shine, man. I was going to say Phillip Rivers as well. I really like what he did this year.
Okay, Fred said Phillip Rivers, although he just disrespected his team. Anyway, I'm also going to take one for the top 10 to not mention at all. Phillip Rivers. I was going to pick Montana Fat Man, but I think I'm just going to go with Phillip Rivers as the comeback player of the year.
All right, no, yeah. I had three people in mind: Rivers, Matthews, and Moreno. Matthews, he's somebody we've all written off. And he came back to rush for over 1,200 yards this year. Moreno, he surprised us. He was supposed to be the third-string running back.
That's true.
And, Omaha helped him get back to the top of that depth chart. But I got to go with Phillip Rivers as well. Like Jimmy said all season, like Frank just said, he went from top 10 to not mentioned at all. This season, he was arguably the second-best quarterback in the league. So I'm going to take Phillip Rivers. Who are you going with, B. Austin?
I'm going with the Dolphins cornerback Brent Grimes, coming off a torn Achilles. No one wanted to sign that man to any type of contract, and he turned in a Pro Bowl season, an All-Pro season. So I'm going Brent Grimes.
Way out of left
From the
field.
Bolo tie like that.
Way back in
All right.
left field.
So let's go to
Check the numbers.
Let's go to the rookies. Let's start with the defense. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Jimmy. Who you got on that award?
Kiko Alonso. He had like 160 tackles, so I have to go with him as the defensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, I'm also going with Kiko Alonso. Anytime you got fans giving fellatio and back seats for your jersey, you're automatically winning some kind
you
of
win. You got to
That's
win.
it.
Fred.
I got to go with Sheldon Richardson, defensive lineman for the Jets.
That's a good pick.
I really, and by the way, he's in that AFC East division that, you said was bad. But anyway.
He's a fullback, too, at the same time.
Yeah.
It is bad.
Rex Ryan, he can't produce an offensive player to save his life, but those defensive guys, he just keeps on bringing them out. Now if he can just turn D. Miller around, I think he can have a good defense, especially with that.
And I actually agree with Fred. I pick Sheldon Richardson. He was great this year against the run. A little middle of the pack as far as his pass rush goes, but I think he had a really good rookie year. The other person I had in mind was Desmond Trufant from the Falcons, and I know I shouldn't, dock him points because his team was straight up trash, but it's kind of difficult.
I mean, the Jets was stink too, so I mean, like,
yeah, not like the Falcons though. The Falcons,
yeah. I mean,
plus their expectations were so high, and they were just so bad. Like,
one was
wonder
one was Dookie.
if he really was that
thing.
good, or was it a lot of, a lot of garbage time, stuff. He's a really good young corner so far though. But I'm gonna go with Sheldon Richardson from the Jets. B. Austin, who you going with?
I'm sticking to the status quo. Sheldon Richardson. I see a bright future for this young man. Tough against the run.
All right. So let's go to the offensive side of the ball. Let's stay with you, B. Austin. Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Eddie Lacy. Eddie Lacy.
Eddie Lacy.
Yeah.
All right. I'm also going with Eddie Lacy. 1,178 yards, 4.1 yards a carry, 11 touchdowns. But to me, it wasn't his statistics that were the most impressive. I really think, as much as Green Bay leans on Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers finally had that guy in the backfield that could give him help, like a guy that they needed. Like when they were missing Eddie Lacy, the Green Bay Packers just weren't the same. And I think, once they get everything back together, you get a healthy Aaron Rodgers, Eddie Lacy together for a full season, and everybody else doing what they're supposed to do. I think that team is going to be scary again come next year. Fred, who'd you take? Move.
I gotta say, I gotta go with you on this one, Eddie Lacy. I wanted to pick an offensive lineman, but I just couldn't pick an offensive lineman. And I really did like a couple offensive linemen this year, but it's just hard to really say based off of unless you really, really watch it. But Eddie Lacy, he showed you what that team could be if they have that running back in the backfield, and he's a tough runner. I mean, honestly, he's been the best running back Alabama has put in the NFL since Nick Saban's been there, and that ain't hard to do. Especially when Mark Ingram fumbles the ball away and Trent Richardson just can't get on the field for a team that can't run the football.
Because he fumbles the ball away too.
Yo, F. Trent Richardson.
Damn.
Jimmy, who are you going with?
Those are the thoughts of B. Austin and B. Austin only. Eddie, I had two people, Eddie Lacy, but I got to give a special shout out to Keenan Allen.
Thank you.
He had a good season.
Yeah, got to give him some love because he put up some numbers. Excuse me. He was a
route running technician.
Yeah, and he was one of the reasons why the Chargers made the playoffs coming out of that tough AFC West division. So shout out to him. But Eddie Lacy, I have a tie between him and Eddie Lacy, but I would probably give it to Eddie Lacy if I had to pick one. Okay. But Keenan Allen has to be mentioned. That's all.
Frank.
Yo, I had Eddie Lacy written down on a piece of paper here, but since y'all are just some straight haters, nobody would even mention Keenan Allen's name until Jimmy went. I'm going with Keenan Allen, man. You guys straight hating on him.
I didn't give somebody an award because nobody else gave him one.
Somebody's got to give it to me.
They're all winners. We're all winners here.
It's like the Baseball Hall of Fame. My vote doesn't matter, but I'm going to give it anyways.
There you go.
Why don't you just give it to Deadspin?
Yeah.
Then we might actually have an offensive line.
No respect for Keenan Allen. I'm giving my vote to Deadspin, man. The hell with y'all. All right, so let's go to the coaches. For me, this is the only one that stayed the same from mid-season. There were a lot of worthy coaches this year. You can talk about the job Belichick did in New England, because like Fred says, they weren't supposed to be where they were. How did you get me? A lot of coaches did a pretty good job. You can even, I don't do the homer thing. Chip Kelly gets some consideration
Absolutely.
For turning that program around in one season. But I'm going to go with Andy Reid, and it's simply a year-to-year thing. We know the Chiefs had a talented team all along, but talent doesn't matter. When you go 2-14, something needs to be done. The voice changed in the locker room, and all of a sudden these guys win 11 games, and they're back in the playoffs. So I'm gonna go with Fat Man Andy down in Kansas City. Frank, who you got?
So in the midseason, I gave this award to Andy Reid as well, and I didn't think there was any way he was going to lose it. But in my opinion, it's got to be Riverboat Ron, man. This man was like had somebody holding his spot on the unemployment line and was like, "Yo, I'll be there in a sec after this game. When we get fired, I'll be right there." Then all of a sudden, like, he's in the playoffs 2 seed, he's got the best defense in the league, so completely changed his whole persona. I gotta go Riverboat Ron Rivera.
And shout out to Ron. Also shout out to Peyton. You know, he showed that his absence really meant something in New Orleans as well. Jimmy, who'd you go with Coach of the Year?
Yo, there were a lot of worthy candidates. You mentioned Riverboat Ron. You mentioned Chip Kelly. I wouldn't mention Bruce Belichick, but he's a crybaby, so who am I going to talk about no crybaby? But another guy that has to be mentioned. Another person that has to be mentioned is
disrespectful.
Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians did a great job over there as well with Arizona, but. At the end of the day, man, Andy Reid, if you look at the turnaround, and everyone wants to say they didn't play anybody, people take for granted how hard it is to win an
NFL game. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, they want to listen. That's a historical turnaround in the grand scheme of things. If you look at some of the biggest turnarounds from season to season, they'll be in the top 5. So I got to go with Andy Reid. I picked him before the season started and in the midseason, and I'm in the same again after the season's over. Andy Reid is the Coach of the Year. He had that award a couple weeks ago anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, man, just to echo a lot of sentiments on our show here, you know, as a Philadelphia Eagles fan and a native Philadelphian, I know I'm going to get killed for picking Andy Reid, but find it in your heart to blame Donovan McNabb. It's Donovan's fault, not Andy's. I think
barbecue never lies, be Austin.
I think Pete Carroll deserves a shout-out for the job that he's done with the Seattle Sea Chickens and putting them in a position to be in a bowl or helping to put them in a position. Riverboat Ron, I don't even think he's a good coach, and a lot of people did. He's done a heck of a job. He's done a heck of a job.
A lot of candidates.
Yeah, a lot of candidates. But Fat Andy, man, Fat Andy took a 2-14 team. Let me rephrase it. Let me slow that down. Slow it down. 2-14.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This might be the most competitive award, though, in terms of all the awards we're going over.
I think so.
And another shout out to another coach. I have to give a shout out to Peyton Manning as an offensive coordinator and what he's done with the Denver Broncos offense in Fox's absence. But go ahead, though.
Yo, my man Peyton Manning's still getting Jim Caldwell checks.
I know. He's like, yo, why don't y'all holler at my man Jim? And he had a job the next day. After they called Tony Dungy, of course, and he turned him down. But Fred, who you got?
I had a lot of candidates for this one. You guys pretty much echoed a lot of the candidates I had. It was a tie for me. It's very hard to pick.
Tie? We don't do ties, man. Get off that fence, man. It hurts to sit on the fence. Chicks can't pick Belichick, man. Go ahead.
But I wanted to take Belichick, and he is the obvious choice for me. But I'm gonna take Riverboat Ron.
Riverboat.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Riverboat Ron just simply for the fact that team started 0-4, and it's hard to come back from that. And
that's true.
And the one thing about I remember talking to him this time last year at the Senior Bowl.
I think it was 0-3 for the record.
Okay, 0-3.
He stopped playing that Marty ball, that conservative stuff, and he went full-fledged the other way.
I had a chance to speak with him down in Mobile at the Senior Bowl this time last year, and he said, "Be patient and just watch the difference in what Cam Newton can do."
So he just told you, he gave you that exclusive. Okay.
He said, "Be patient. We about to put this needle in Cam ass."
And I really questioned him, and I said, "I don't see it. What do you know that we don't?" He just said, "Be patient." And
honestly though, Fred, if I can just say something about Riverboat Ron, Devin just beat me to the punch.
Oh, my bad.
Luke Kuechly and that
Luke Kuechly, sir. Luke Kuechly.
Yo, he mentions. Don't worry, Fred. He said that every week he says his name wrong. Last week it was Keokley or something. Last time.
Straight up, my man Riverboat Ron took the opposite episode from George Costanza and put it together in real life. He just decided to do the opposite of everything he's ever done, and all of a sudden he's successful.
Yo, but Frank, you're joking about that, but no, that's the reason they call him Riverboat Ron. He went completely the other way because he was playing Marty ball. Like, he was ultra conservative. I was complaining to Dev and B. Austin. We were having conversations in the beginning of the season. I'm like, yo, they literally run a halfback dive on first and second down, and third down say, yo, Cam, bail us out.
And then Cam ain't that good, so it's like, I mean.
See those are the thoughts of B. Austin.
Yo, the hate is real.
Those are the thoughts of B. Austin. And not
B. Austin, I echo your concerns.
Yo, Luke, my man,
and Fred Purdue as well.
my man Luke Karaoke don't get the he don't get the credit. He don't get the credit that he deserves, man. Luke Karaoke.
Well, let's move on to the next award.
Listen,
you never know.
Let's move on to the next award. If you want to give him his credit, this is where you can give him his credit. Defensive Player of the Year. Who you got, B. Austin?
I'm crowning
Taking
his
karaoke or what?
Luke Karaoke. Carolina Panthers.
Luke Karaoke. Defensive Player of the Year.
With an honorable mention to my man, my homie. Shout out to the Dread, Richard the Lion King Sherman. Shout out to
Dread in his head, took the bread and the lamb spread. Yo, listen, I had this written down on my notes beforehand. I'm also taking Karaoke because that's his new name B. Austin just gave him. I'm taking Luke Karaoke. Listen, this guy, when you watch him play, he has a motor, yo. He never stops.
Yo.
And it seems like he's on every tackle.
56 tackles, something like that. He was
Yo,
fourth
but
in
it
the league
seems
in
like
tackles.
it seems like he's in every tackle, like tackles in the
He
backfield,
reminds
30
me
yards
of
downfield. Like
he reminds me of Pat Willis in his second year when they would throw a bomb. Pat Willis would be down there with the cornerbacks tackling the dude on the bomb.
Dev. B. Austin got like his favorite players, and he finds a way to always give them shout outs. Like Patrick Willis.
But
Patrick Willis is his guy. Like
that was a shot at me though, because earlier in the week I was dissing Patrick Willis. So he had to put him in the show.
When B. Austin finds a player that he likes, yo, I give you credit, yo. You ride for them to the end, yo, because Patrick Willis ain't even good no more.
Yo, true story. My man Patrick
Navarro
Willis.
Bowman is better than Patrick Willis.
Yo, true story. My man Patrick Willis pulled a Chris Bosh in that NFC Championship game. I didn't see a thing out of him. I don't even think anybody said his name the whole time. I also got
about to shoot everybody.
B. Austin did.
I also got Luke Karaoke. I mean, that's going to be his name from now on. I just want to give a special shout out to J.J. Watt, even though he played on a terrible team. My man defended his defensive player of the year. Yeah, he was just trying to play like 11-on-1. Like, he didn't even care, and he was trying, but it just didn't work out for him. But I definitely got Luke Karaoke as well. That was the same point I was going to bring up about, like, he's one of those guys where you don't understand how from the beginning of the play to the end of the play where he got where he was. Like, you just want a camera on him to find out how he got from one end of the field to the other.
The karaoke cam in every game.
I know Fred's sitting there like, the hell with his pass interfering ass. I had 3 people. It was between Karaoke, J.J. Watt, and the old head. Mathis out in Colts land.
Ooh.
I took Mathis, man. I took Mathis. 19 and a half sacks.
You're a closet Colts
61
fan,
tackles and a safety.
That's your team, though.
And a safety. But listen, he had to switch. He went from 4-3 defensive end to a 3-4 outside linebacker. So even with the switch, he still got his 19 and a half sacks, 9 forced fumbles. That's a big deal. He changed, he changed possessions of the game a lot. So I'm going to give it to him, strictly based off that stat, not just the 19 and a half sacks.
Yeah. That and he didn't have his tag team partner. Him and Freddie have been together forever.
And you need to change possessions when your quarterback throwing all them damn picks, so that's a good thing.
So he got my man Andrew Luck the ball back, and some times when they needed the ball back. So I'm gonna go with Mathis.
Shout out to Andrew Luck, throwing picks so easy a caveman can do it.
Guys, I had to go with Robert Mathis as well. That was my unanimous pick. It was just without Freeney. They said he couldn't do it without Freeney. They said he couldn't do it at a different position. He keeps proving guys wrong, as old as he is now. And like you said, he keeps getting Andrew Luck the ball back. I mean, there's something to be said for that. The only other guy I could have said, and he's not really on anyone's radar because he doesn't put up the statistics, is Dontari Poe. Defensive tackle, defensive end for the Chiefs. He does so many things that you don't see on the stat book, and he's always in the back.
Yeah, and that tough division, he's needed.
They ain't beat nobody. No, but all right. So shout out to all those guys. Shout out to Earl Thomas, man. We gotta say his name.
Yeah,
he balled out this season as well. He showed that he could possibly be the best safety in the NFL right now.
Yo, but Earl,
I don't think there's any possible about it.
Possible. He's already the best safety.
Yo, Earl has no regard. He's trying to commit suicide by football a lot of times. So I just get scared for
Earl Thomas took over where Ed Reed left off.
So you're saying he's single-handedly giving out CTE checks?
Yeah, he got CTE.
All right, so
he got it himself.
Let's go to what, in my opinion, is usually the most controversial award in the NFL, because sometimes it really doesn't make sense who wins the award versus who wins the MVP. But we're going to go Offensive Player of the Year. And we'll start with you, B. Austin. Who you got as your Offensive Player of the Year?
Why don't you just ask me? Why don't you just say B. Austin has Peyton Manning? Why would you ask me?
Peyton.
Spaniard. Are you not entertained?
Frank.
Are you not entertained?
Offensive Player
I
of the
wanted
Year.
to go with Jamal Charles, but it's hard to go against him. Peyton Manning, 5,400 yards. Breaking the touchdown record Tom Brady
Million
set
touchdowns.
a long time ago.
Hey, Fred, your top 2 picks were in the AFC West? All right. I'm just asking. That's all. Just asking.
All right, Frank.
Anyways.
Go ahead, Fred. You done?
Peyton Manning he does so many things at the line of scrimmage, and he looks like he's getting better. I don't know how, but he continues to get better.
Not a game manager.
I'm a big
He's playing it up here in his mind and not trying to run around and.
I'm a big fan, but sometimes that
Sounds like
get
that
on my nerves,
RG3
man.
guy you're talking about.
Sometimes I'm like, yo, would you go snap the ball, cuz, for real? Like, hey, you gonna set up. Every time he set up, he go up. Blah, 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 blah. Like, Peyton, come on, man.
He's the Mike. 54. 54 is the Mike.
All right,
Montana.
Frank, who you got?
Montana's fat man.
I got my man, Omaha, hurry, fat man Scoop, K-Slay.
Quickly clear the house.
Like you said, Dad, this is one of those awards where it doesn't make sense. I don't think he's going to win it. I actually think Megatron's going to win it. I think he's going to end up being the Offensive Player of the Year, but it's got to be Peyton Manning.
Yeah, because I'm thinking every year you have an Offensive Player of the Year and you have an MVP who's from an offense. How is that possible?
And I think the reason they do that was try to get away from making it. It doesn't work.
I know. Yeah, it's
Offensive
crazy.
Player of the Year is designed for the best highlight player. MVP is the real.
All right, so
best
for me, Offensive Player of the Year, got to give a shout out to my man Shady McCoy, but you ain't winning it, not from my standpoint. I'm gonna go Peyton Manning. Like Fred already gave you the numbers: 5,400 yards, 55 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 115 rating. Oh, come on, who played better offense?
115 million passing rating.
Yeah, so who played better offense than him? So Jimmy, who are you going with?
Yo, listen, Peyton Manning, you know what I'm saying? Bronco gang. Yo, and by the way, if Peyton Manning wins the bowl for the Broncos, I will never say anything about him ever again in life, and I will start frequenting Papa John's more often. I promise you that. Because as of last year, I put a boycott on Papa John's. Not that I ate there anyway, but, I don't even let family eat there until we win a chip. Once we win a chip, the boycott is over, yo.
You open the door.
That's such an underrated move by Peyton Manning. He bought a bunch of Papa John's right after Colorado legalized marijuana. I mean, what more money do you want?
Munchies.
That's a business plan right there.
That's
Looks
right.
like some people are in your family going to be hungry, Jimmy.
Oh, God, here you go. Yo, these butthurt Patriots fans don't know how to chill, man. 26-16.
All
Shout out
right,
to my
so
man Potluck.
let's go MVP, most valuable player. And I'm going to start right here with you, Mr. Fred Perdue. MVP.
Refer to my Offensive Player of the Year pick.
Yeah, I just wanted to see if he's going to say it after you just dissed Jimmy again.
Yeah, that's all.
Peyton Manning.
But hold on, though. Do
Omaha.
y'all peep how many AFC West people he wants to give these awards to? That's all. I'm sorry. Go ahead, y'all.
That's a weak division, man. Hey, look, same here. MVP, Peyton Manning. B. Austin picked Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Frank.
I mean, it was between Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. No, it wasn't. It was Peyton Manning the whole time.
He's going to pick the game manager. All right,
Omaha, K-Slay, Funk Flex, all day.
Yeah.
Wow.
For me, it was between two people. It was between Terrence Knighton, aka Pot Roast, and Peyton Manning. But I'm not going with Peyton Manning. Yo, we gotta give Pot Roast a shout out because he balled out of control this past Sunday.
Jimmy been waiting
26,
since Sunday to say pot roast.
Yo, that's my man. That's my man. He was balling out of yo. Shout out to Pot Roast, man. That's all.
All right, so those are our
Whoa.
field vision.
Can
Go
I
ahead,
keep
B.
it?
Austin, I'll let you.
Can I keep it a million though? Like, I'm not trying to ride the wave, but what a difference Richard Sherman makes. Should he get some MVP consideration for that team for the way he plays?
No.
No. All right.
No.
Might be by
Not when he's
himself.
roid raging in public like
I
that.
know what you was trying to do right there, but no.
No. All right. All right.
I'm good.
No, none, zero.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe if he shut his mouth a little more, he would actually get it.
No.
We're
Talk
not
more.
even getting into that. We're not even
Talk
getting
Let's
into
not
that.
even do it.
Yeah.
Because, you
Do
know what I'm
that
saying? We all got
outside of the
opinions
show.
on that. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Free Richard Sherman, yo.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit on our podcast. Make sure you check that out every Thursday, 6 to 8 on warroomsports.com. It's called The War Room. Anyway, those are, your Field Vision postseason awards for 2013 season. I know it's 2014 now, but football is weird like that. All right, real quick before we get out of here, I just want to get everybody's initial thoughts on the Super Bowl. We know the matchup is set. We got the Seattle Seahawks and the Denver Broncos. A lot of people in the preseason picked these two teams to go. So, number one seed in each conference. It's not much of a surprise. Should be a good matchup. We have, the best offense in the league against the best defense in the league. So you can't ask for much more. Initial thoughts, Fred, on the game. We don't have to pick a winner. Just give me your initial thoughts on the matchup.
The Seahawks can't produce a passing offense. That's a problem.
You said that's a problem. Yeah, my initial thoughts, I respect the route that both of these teams took to get there. I think it'll probably, I don't know, I'm not even giving my pick yet because, we have another week and a half to overanalyze this thing. But I'm not sure the game will live up to the hype. And we've had some good Super Bowl games over the past decade or so. I'm not sure at this point that the game will live up to the hype. I'm not telling anybody why at this point because we want you guys to tune in next week and tune into our podcasts and to our blogs and all that stuff. So I'll just leave it there, and I'll explain myself next week. B. Austin, what's your initial thoughts on the matchup?
Is Russell Wilson going to be as afraid in this game as he was in the NFC Championship game? Is he going to have jitters, butterflies in his stomach?
I'm not afraid.
Is he going to be bobbling the snap and putting it in my man Beast Mode's belly and have Beast Mode go to the sideline dejected and put his head down like the fumble was his fault? That's my main thing. I think you already know who I'm gonna pick. So I mean,
that's a really good point because we've been talking about that over the last few weeks. Russell Wilson, I think he's I still think he's a good young quarterback. I don't know if he's ready for these moments as much as the rest of his team is ready for the moments. Yeah, and people may talk about. I hear people lauding his decision making all the time, but I think sometimes his decision making comes from fear, and sometimes you gotta go out there and just play. So
listen, let me make a couple points because you guys listen. Russell Wilson was shook daddy this past Sunday, and what's he gonna do when he got pot roast coming at him? That's all I want to know. And the thing about it is, I've watched him play every game. And if you go to episode 164 of the War Room, which actually took place before the season started, and I picked the Seahawks and Broncos to go to the Super Bowl because I'm clairvoyant like that. But here's the thing about his decision making. If you watched him throughout the course of this season, he has exhibited good decision making, great decision making at times. But it's like the bigger the games got, the scarier he seemed to get. And that, like, the last couple games of the season and going into the playoffs, it's like the bigger the moment, he seemed to play a little bit scared. Now, I think in the future, he may be that guy, but I'm not sure if he's ready as of yet. It looked like the moment was kind of big for him this past Sunday. So we'll see what happens in the bowl.
When you're throwing the goal,
he plays like Willie Beeman when he just took over for Cap Rooney.
When you're throwing the Golden Tate, Jermaine Kearse, and
that's a great point too, Fred. He needs a weapon. My man, Doug Baldwin Hill.
Yeah, they got a guy called Percy Harvin who's supposed to be that guy, but he can't stay.
Percy Harvin's been soft since he's been at the University of Florida.
My man Russell Wilson was trying to figure out if there was such things as a halfway crook on Sunday.
Percy Harvin's been a pretty boy since the time he's been at the University of Florida.
I mean, the two things I'm interested in is Russell Wilson is one storyline. I think people seem to forget he's a second-year quarterback. I mean, there's one of those guys where it seems like people were riding his jock like about a year for all this year and a half in like the last 3 weeks.
For a hero. A lot of these fans don't have dads. So.
The last 3 weeks he got turned on big time. But I think the main storyline is the cliche that defense wins championships, and we got the number one defense versus number one offense. And I'm wondering in this new era of the NFL where it's just pass happy, spread out, is that true anymore? Is it still defense wins championships, or will it be spread you out 5 receivers and that's going to win a championship?
Yeah.
So I think that's an interesting storyline.
It might end up being defense gets you to the championship.
Yeah, but defense may win a championship, but it's gonna be pot roast, baby.
I also think a lot of times when they're talking about Russell Wilson and his decision-making ability, sometimes I think the compliments may be a little backhanded because they usually come when they're comparing him to maybe a Robert Griffin III, and they're talking about how
Guys that
he
make
makes
dumb
good
decisions.
decisions to run out of bounds or to slide or to, to take
So
care of his
basically,
body.
just saying it's good decisions. When you look at his contemporaries and their decisions.
Exactly.
Like,
And you're saying his decision-making is good enough to keep him healthy. But,
The one thing I will say about
He said it's
My
Russell,
man Dev just called Russell Wilson.
It's somewhere between good and RG3.
But what I do think, I think when he starts to run around, he is still looking to pass the ball. He isn't just running just to run. Like, he'll still look to see if there's somebody that's going to break open, and I do like that. He buys time for himself.
My man Dev just called Russell Wilson the prettiest ugly girl at the bar at 2 a.m.
the one thing I will say about
That's basically what he did.
the one thing I will say about Russell Wilson is he should give about half his check to Marshawn Lynch, because without him, that team is not going far.
Oh, yeah.
That team isn't going that far because simply
Top
Russell
three.
Wilson he started off hot. He started off where he picked up last year, but it was just like, okay, we're gonna lay on the defense.
I mean, yo,
Take 60 carries a game, and if you're able to take it to the
The
end,
Austin
go ahead.
said Marshawn top 3 in the world.
Fred, that's true indeed. I said that. Stand by. Fred, your point is
Jimmy,
well
why did he
taken,
say that,
but-
though? Because he was defending Patrick Willis.
Oh yeah, because he's defending Patrick
Getting
Willis.
fucked by
Yeah.
him.
He was defending Patrick Willis. Kept getting ran over, but that's a top 3 back in the league.
It's gonna happen.
He overrating Lynch to make Patrick Willis.
I can never call Marshawn Lynch a top 3 back. I mean, when you get three
that's
yards,
'cause
That's
you
a
got
whole nother
Steven
show.
Ridley.
Now
You
we're
got
gonna get into
Steven
the
Ridley.
top 3 back.
I can't go that
Steven
far.
Ridley.
I can't go
You
that
got
far.
Steven. You got Steven.
How is he supposed to
Ridley.
take Tom Brady's spot in the top running
Hey,
backs
Fred
in the
Purdue,
league?
before we get out of here, Fred, let me ask you a question, because I was watching the last show we had, and you was talking about how LeGarrette Blunt was. Did he play past Sunday?
Blunt objects.
Blunt objects and blunt force trauma and all this blunt. He looked like.
rolling a blunt. That
Yeah,
blunt
he
got
looked like
smoked.
he had the wrong
that's
blunt
pretty much
before the
all he
game.
did.
That blunt got fired up.
Yo, he looked like Corey Blunt.
The Patriots actually warned him not to actually smoke anything while he was there.
Yeah, we just made a Corey Blunt reference on this show. It's time to go.
It's definitely time to go, man. So, like as usual, everybody out there, first of all, make sure you subscribe to the page so you know when these Field Vision episodes are coming out. Make sure you like the video, leave your comments, tell us who you picked for all the awards that we ran down tonight, and then give us your initial thoughts on the Super Bowl. We're going to be talking a whole lot more about the Super Bowl on every platform, at War Room Sports, Sports Kings, Heavy in the Games. For the next 2 weeks, you're going to hear everything about the Super Bowl just like you are from everywhere else. So, look, this has been another episode of Field Vision. The next time we'll be getting a little deeper into the Super Bowl, and then after that we're going to have ourselves another Super Bowl champion, so it's about to get real exciting. Like we always tell you guys, don't accept mediocrity and be steadfast in the war against ignorance.
Yo, tell your
We'll
mom
see
to
you
at
chumps
me.
on top.
K-Slay, K-Slay,
Team,
K-Slay.
baby.
Sherman, shut up and win a Super Bowl.
Damn, no slander for Sherman. Yo, leave free Sherman.
Kuwait is the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys diversified and educated.